Hi, this is going to be a quick demonstration into the search platform. The platform has been um, designed and put together in such a way that it supports for multiple um, um, search techniques. It also does have the ability within it to support um, for financial or data audit processes as well, which I would be demonstrating today, just as means of a very quick demonstration, just to give you an idea on how the system works. The system really is split into four distinct parts. There is a fifth part to it, which I would mention, but primarily we are looking at four distinct parts. So the initial part is the SQL database structure, which is again an industry standard. A lot of businesses use that. So we have information stored within a SQL database. The next one is what is known as a keyword search database. In layman's terms, the keyword tool really is there to allow you carry out searches or begin the process of analysis just using very distinct keywords. So having the ability to use keywords to then start building up your data points as a means of building a fuller picture as part of your analysis. That's what that's there for. The next one that we have is known as a vector database. A vector database is unique in the sense that it really allows us to be able to uh, query and manipulate unstructured data. So in this case, in this scenario, um, we've been able to carry out a process known as ingestion. That's where data is kind of fed into the database. And in our scenario, we've had to do this by ingesting a lot of PDF documents of varied sorts, anywhere from bank statements to delivery notes to receipts, you name it, handwritten. Um, we've had to ingest all of that information and then structure it in such a way that we're able to run different levels or types of analysis, again, known as a vector based search against that unstructured data. So, in essence, we've taken unstructured data and structured it out in layman's terms using a vector database. The fourth system is known as the graphical database. Now, what this allows us to do, um, and it's quite unique in the sense that it really allows for visualization of um, your data points and how they relate to each other. Um, I'll be perhaps I might start off with that demonstration and kind of work things back, just to show you how useful that is. And by putting everything together, um, the types of results you can actually get out of the system. Now, the graphical database does work using what is known as a cipher query. Um, Again, for majority of what you'd need to do, 95% of what you'd need to do, it'll be pretty straightforward, and I'll show you how to do that. It's just a matter of clicking on, again, very detailed nodes that have been labeled by the system in scenarios where more complex queries need to be put together, um, if an email request is sent with very clear specifications in terms of what that data set or query needs to look like, um, we'll be happy to kind of put that together, run the query for you, and send you the results. Or more importantly, have the query saved so that you could run it as of when needed. The fifth part to all of this is what is known as a hybrid search. Just as the name implies, what that does is that with um, the hybrid search brings together the groupings of the initial four data sets that I mentioned. Um, it allows for query sets and analysis to be run against all the initial uh, four data sets, um, all of which have their unique offerings. Being able to bring all of that together into one to then present a better picture in terms of whatever it is you're trying to analyze. So, like I said, I'll be signing off with the graph database. It's known as Neo4j. It is a very well known, established industry standard. Um, as soon as you log in, you'll be presented by the screen you see in front of you. If you go to the top left and you click on the database information icon, it gives you the labels, as I mentioned initially, in terms of what it's been able to highlight within the database. Um, Maybe for this example, I'll just start off with account and I'll just expand this. Right. So we are now seeing five nodes. Each of these are known as nodes. Okay. And when you click on any one of them, it gives you the details of the node on the right. Okay. So if I click on any one of these nodes and I click to see the relation, it then expands to give me a relationship for that account. Sometimes the nodes might have labels, sometimes they would not. But I'll get to that slightly later, right? So in this case, it's just showing a relationship between this account that we clicked on. Um, uh, uh, it's an account held by that company, okay? And it's showing that the bank. So if we click on this node, again, it gives you the information there. The bank, the name there is Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, you'd also see that the transaction nodes within this specific type of search, for the most part, would have the dates on. Now, when you click on again the node, it gives you the details to the right. So here, for example, we know exactly what the date and time was. We know what the credit amount was for. Um, uh, we have a payment reference number. We've got um, the bank charge there as a SHA, and we know the payment type outward faster payment. That's just giving you the overview in terms of the transaction itself. What I would be doing just to keep things simple, because this can get quite in depth and detailed, but what I'll be doing just to keep things quite simple is that I'll perhaps use the payment reference to then go run a hybrid search so that we can see, in more of a detailed analysis, um, what the relationships really are, why that was done, and so on and so forth. So we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, again, with this, you could come in and for nodes that have extended relationships, you could quite easily click on the nodes and expand what those relationships are. Um, so let me and I can show you how detailed and complicated this could actually get. But uh, so this again is showing you, if you see each of these have um, the relationship connectors here, okay, that actually give you an idea in terms of what the relationship actually is. Again, I'm just being a little bit rushed, not saying too much or pointing out too much at this stage, because I'm just doing an initial demonstration just to show you what the system can do. But more than happy to make more detailed videos in terms of um, how you could actually uh, run extremely complicated levels of analysis to find out specific data points. But again, so we've clicked on an account. The second account was able to bring up a relationship. So this was the second account we clicked on. Um, the second account we clicked on that has shown us the relationships to Innovate Limited, and I've clicked on one of the relationships to then expand onto um, the transactional history. So these would be representing transactional histories um, for that account, and it's all to do with Innovate Limited. Again, like I said, this can just keep going and going and going. So in this case, that account links to Innovate Limited, and we know based on the bill to it was sent to this company, Chinese company, and if you wanted to find out exactly why, we know that that product was bought. It says contains so nitrous oxide, pressure relief components, um, and a few other bits, right? So I know it does look a little bit complicated, but if you were to pick one specific data point and just follow that all the way through, this is how detailed you can get. You can get even more detailed than that. And again, you just click on the relationship icon. If you wanted to see what the relationships look like. Um, let me just get rid of some of these. Right. So if I was given a specific request to present graphically what a specific transactional history look like, this is where I'll be coming um, to do that. Because once that process is completed, you'd be able to export this either as a CSV or PNG. I think would be the most applicable. Um, JSON SVG, I don't think would be really applicable to what it is that you're trying to do. Again, if you click away to the side, it gives you an overview in terms of what the nodes are that you're looking at. So the orange ones are invoices. Um, you've got companies, packing lists, and so on and so forth. And you can then, for example, click into the invoice, you get the information on the invoice. Again, we could run a hybrid search on this invoice if we wanted to find more information. So that's the graphical search in a very, very, very high level. I'm sure once you get into it, you'll uh, be able to visualize more clearly what your um, relational data sets would look like. Um, and again, you could just click on a data point. If it's got a relationship, you click on the relationship icon. uh, I'm I'm just trying not to get this too messy. And if any one of these, so that's an invoice there on the orange one. We know that because the node label there says the orange ones are invoices, and we currently got 21 invoices on screen. We got to this stage. So what we've done here is we've picked up a bank account. Okay. In fact, let's see if we could do that again. So what we did initially was we picked up a bank account. We clicked on the relationship icon, okay, and just from this process, we're then able to figure out what the invoices were, what the items were. We're able to find out why payments were made in and out of um, um, those specific bank accounts and who those bank accounts related to. We're also able to trace the type of payments that were made. Was it a fast payment? And so on and so forth. It does get quite detailed. And again, in this case, so we do have two transaction nodes as listed there. And I did point out before the one specifically with the dates tend to be the transaction nodes in this case. And you can then expand on that. Now, the transaction nodes now show you or give you let me see if we can pull this slightly over there. There we go. Now, gives you the relationship. So we know the account clearly is held by Innovate. So we can then expand on this to see what Innovate did with that account. We know Innovate was billed by Data Logistics for this specific transaction. And who are they? They are an importer. Okay. And yeah, so this can go on and on. We know payment was made and received by this company in China. How do we know that? Again, because the information is there on the top right. We know the products that were also purchased. How do we know that? It's got the label there called goods, and it gives you the details, tells you what the weight is, gives you product codes, quantity, so on and so forth. There's just so much you could do um, with this system. Really allows you to visualize the data set. Right. So, uh, as promised, what I wanted to do was to pick on any one of the transaction nodes. And what I would do is I've got this payment reference. So I'll copy the payment reference and I'll come onto the financial and audit system. Um, so we've got an assistant called Boris that would um, engage in the hybrid search process. Now, it's always key that when you use this, if you are looking for just very light information, so something that isn't detailed, you could just say search or find me that whatever that data point is. But if you want better results, my suggestion would be to always engage the hybrid search, because then it would really search through the vector database, which, remember, I did mention holds a lot of the unstructured data that we've been able to capture so far. Um, by the time you're using this, that database would be pretty much 100% complete in terms of the uploads. As I make this video for you, currently still uploading data sets at this point in time. So what I would say is using a hybrid search, um, find all documents and relationships to, and I'll just paste that code in here. One thing to be aware of, because we're using a hybrid search and in effect it's using for databases, distinct databases, trying to pull together this relationship and present a report to you. Uh, it would take some time. On average, I've noticed it takes about between 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes up to 15 minutes, depending on how detailed and how complex you want the reports to be. So again, just bear that in mind. So currently it's searching. Okay, so the search has returned information back. Now it says there are no documents were found with a payment reference. That is correct because it wasn't a document, but just a transaction node with a reference of a payment. So we were using that reference to then try and build a picture. Um, so it was able to pick up the transaction date uh, where it says it was the 20th of August 2024.